Man, I swear my mic stands on its last legs. Like, I was about to record this video and the bottom here is broken and the top here is not attaching to this, and it's just a mess. And even this part, which is supposed to like block the desk from like shattering or like, you know, ripping, it's it's totally off. I guess YouTube doesn't pay me enough. My freaking closet's broken. Everything's broken. Everything's broken. I think this one's gonna be a bit of an interesting video because A, we haven't done this style of video, and B, I'm not used to talking about design. You know, a lot of developers will like pride themselves, or pride, I don't know if that's the right word, but they'll pride themselves in not really caring about design and instead working on the back end and then just always working on product. But you know, as I was like developing my app and I made like a huge update on my app, which I'm making a video on like that in of itself, I realized how important design is, and I learned a lot about the intricacies of design because it's a lot more confusing and a lot more specific than you may think. There's a lot of different aspects, there's a lot of different principles that you can follow to really make an app stand out to your users. And so what we'll cover in this video is clean design, what it is, and how I've implemented it, at least in my own sense, into my app. I'll show you a picture of the app right now. I don't call myself a front-end developer. I don't even consider myself a good front-end developer, but I think I did a pretty good job on this one. Like this project, I think I did a pretty good job. So hopefully you can learn just as much as I have from this video alone. And honestly, let's go to the back here because I think I'm too close. I think I'm way too close to the camera. I think if I move back, I guess, a little bit, we can have like a fun little interview style video. So let's go back. And yes, I am short. I'm like 5'6", so we're gonna do about it. All right, welcome to my dungeon. I need a place to put my laptop because I need to show you some things and I need a script, so this is a total mess. So the smart definition of clean design is an app or design that clearly displays the message that they're trying to explain to the users. So if the app is about fitness, they're selling fitness or personal training to a user, the design hopefully fits the mold for the user to understand what is on that site. They understand that they have different aspects of fitness, they understand where they can buy it, they understand where they need to go. It's just a well put together design that clearly explains what the product does. And my definition, I guess, is more of a dumber down version of that, but you should just ask yourself this question: can my user understand what is going on in their site? If they go to my app right now, do they know what I'm selling, where to go, where to buy, and how to use it? If you can do that, then I think you have a clean design. A great example of this would be cal.com. It's this Calendly clone type of app. I talked about it in like a previous video and they actually reached out to me, and they're super nice. It's not even a sponsorship, by the way, but you can go to their site right now and you can see that everything's just very well put together. It's very easy to read, and I think that's the epitome of clean design. It's not the looks of an app per se, like it's not like the coloring. Okay, it's not the specific colors or the specific angle. Rather, it's the display of the message. You know what I mean? But you're probably saying, right, Nazar, how do I write clean design? And you know, I actually took some time this week to redesign my app. I fully redesigned my app. You can actually check it out. And I really just wanted to understand, how does it work? Like, why does my app look like shit? The most previous one. Why does it look like shit? What goes into a beautiful app? And I looked in a lot of places. Firstly, I looked at different apps. I looked at different developers like Fireship.io. He has like a wonderful site. I don't think he has a lot of videos on design, but just his style of videos is like a design thing in of itself. Mark Clue's another great one. He has a lot of articles on this type of stuff like design, and I just really delved into it like I did with the backend, right? And so in this section of the video, I'm gonna cover the 3 main lessons that I learned from those lessons. I really struggled to say that, and how I've applied them into my own apps to make them look great. And so the first main lesson here for my design is picking the color scheme. But Nazar, you just said that color doesn't matter. Color matters, but not specific colors. Like, it doesn't matter if you pick red as the background or green as the background. That does not matter. But what does matter is the colors that you pick that mix together. Like, you don't want black and then purple and then yellow and then a dull brown. Like, you don't want to mix all these. Maybe that goes well together, but I'm just saying, you don't want a mix of random colors. And one thing I learned in the redesign of my app and in learning how to write, you know, quote unquote clean design, is to stick with a simple color scheme of 4 colors. So just pick 4 colors and use the different shades of those 4 colors. And hopefully you can see the site and how it looks like right now. You can see the colors is quite simple, right? You can see we picked some sort of light purple. I have not memorized the hex, whatever you want to call it. I also picked, if you go down even more, I picked a darker background for like some of the important stuff. And I'm telling you, okay, the color does not matter, but it matters how they work together. So you can see, hopefully the app looks good. right? The color scheme goes well together. And that's the main thing I'm trying to, what's the word? Convey. There we go. And one thing you can take out of this color scheme, right, is stick with a simple background. You can see it's like a lighter blackish type of one, and stick with that. And then have a color for your main call to action. So you can see the purple is used only in very specific sections. You can see there's an underline. You can see it's used in the button. You can see it's used on like the sign up button, stuff like that, where you don't want to overuse that type of main color, only in important sections so the user knows where to look. And the coolest thing about it is you're not limited to a lot, because you can just invert the color. So you have like basically double the amount. So for example, let's say you pick the same color scheme as me. A button does not always have to be that purple and the text. You can also flip it where the button is that brownish and then the text is the purple. So there's a lot you can do here. But anyways, this might be the most I've ever spoken about color, so let's move on to the next section of this design. So we've picked out the color scheme, we have an idea of what we want. The next thing that's really important is the theme that we have on our app. And one thing I've tried to do in my own development process is to realize that UI is just like a story. It has to be consistent. Like when you're reading a novel, sure, there's like ups and downs, there's plot twists and everything like that. But at the end of the day, the writing is consistent. Like the writer didn't go from their own style to a 1-year-old writing to a 12-year-old's writing. Like they did not go 1-year-old writing. First graders writing to 12th graders writing, right? Like they didn't go through like this weird pattern. They stuck with the same thing throughout the novel and worked within those parameters. And so for your app, for clean design, okay, have a consistency to it that the user likes. And what that may look like for you is the color scheme, okay? We already talked about that. Having a consistent color scheme, having a consistent UI library. Like on my app for my clean design, I stuck with Daisy UI. I just stuck with that because they have a specific way of things, okay? If your text size for your header is like, I don't know, a large in Tailwind, then keep it at large. Don't do anything different. Just keep it like that. And this actually allows us to perfectly segue into the third thing I've learned from clean design, and it's like the spacing, padding, and like text of everything. And I think this is the most underrated aspect because, you know, it's really easy to understand that you need good color scheme, you need a theme. I think that's generally good advice. But one thing that really caught me by surprise is how many people are focused on the padding of your text, like the line spacing, the alignment, like if it's on the left, if it's on the right, stuff like that. That's like a regular person does not think about, but it subconsciously does pay attention to. And so I'm just going to lay out like a general advice, at least from what I've learned from clean design, or at least to convey, there we go, clean design. So the first main thing is to have an attention grabbing headline that is tight, okay? That's what she said. So for example, on the headline over here, you can see the text is not that spaced out and it's big. This is usually the main part of your landing page where you want to let the user know what you're talking about. And so for me, it's learn to code and have fun doing it. I think if any person looks at that, they know what the app will do. They're going to learn code here. They're going to have some cool courses. That's what I want it to be. And then in this spacing, padding, line height type of section, what you want to do is space out everything, okay? So let's say we have the header hero landing page where you display everything. Don't clump everything together. I did that a lot on my previous apps where everything was really close. Even like the line spacing was too close. Space everything out. So maybe only display your main message where the user can see, and they have to scroll down to see the next aspect of your video. That's typically like a space Y of 40 in Tailwind CSS. Like that's sometimes what I do, or space 20. I'm not sure. In addition to this padding stuff, this goes for like almost anything, okay? In your card, make sure there's spacing. The whole point here is to space things out. That's usually what modern and clean design people would say. It's to like, you know, make it look spaced out. And finally, the alignment. I kept this to the end because I think it's like a really important one. Try your best to align the text, a smaller text, with whatever the hero is doing. And so for example, right, let's say we have our card. I'll show you like a card. The hero text at the top, right, like underneath the image, if it's a specific way, we kind of want the smaller text to emulate that. Same thing goes with like the hero section, okay? You can see we have the attention grabbing headline, and whatever is underneath is aligned with that. You can see it's a bit to the left. We could have easily made that center and it would have looked a lot worse, and I personally would have done that. But what I've learned is to align everything the right way, and it just helped me a lot. So again, pick a simple color scheme, stick with like 4 main colors that go well together, pick a theme, same UI library, same sort of design throughout the app. Keep it simple. That's usually my best advice for clean design. And finally, space things out as much as possible. Allow your app to breathe and align everything as well as possible. And I'm sorry I didn't talk too much about aligned, but if you're interested, I'll leave the article below of how I learned to like align things. It's by Mark Clue, who's like a great developer, and I've learned a lot from him. So I'll leave his whatever it is, newsletter, I think it is, down below. So hopefully you can learn just like I did. But yeah, if you like this style of video, then please let me know. I'm trying something new here. I guess showing off more of myself, you could say. That sounds so wrong. But yeah, if you like the video, and also if you want to check out the repository for that design I just talked about, like that app, the one I with the clean design, then I'll leave the repository to that down below. It's completely public for you to check out and steal. Who gives a fuck? But yeah, happy coding, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.